Hey, everybody. Welcome. Hope you're ready to draw. Just as a reminder, Drawing Hive is brought to you from Visual Arts Passage. And if you don't know, we are an online mentorship program. We offer resources to help people develop their careers and as illustrators and fine artists. And you'll probably hear more about it tonight because we're enrolling for the next semester and something I'm really proud of. So we'll talk later on that and we'll get set and start drawing tonight. We got a fun topic tonight, 80s fantasy creatures. Um, Cassandra had nothing to do with this. This
So
comes,
this is my childhood, so I'm very happy here.
so this, well, it's not mine. And so Timmy kind of helped me with this and I found some reference and I think we did okay. So we got Gizmo from Gremlins, uh, Jen and Kira. Help me, who is it from? From
Dark
Dark,
Crystal.
Dark
Dark
Crystal.
Crystal. Um, we got Folkar from The Neverending Story and Stripe from also from Gremlins. And I was telling Timmy before we started that I'm so glad he chose this. I gave him a bunch of things to choose from. He chose this shot, and I was like, that's the thing I would most unlikely do for myself. So that's what I'm going to draw tonight.
That's awesome.
So I think we're set. We're going to do, as always, two 20-minute poses and one 40-minute pose. And at the end of the night, we'll share everything. It's always the best part. So let's get started.
All right, everybody, if this is your first time drawing with us, start drawing now. We're going to draw and talk. Feel free to ask questions. And please post your work throughout the night. It's hashtag DrawingHive244 on Instagram, hashtag DrawingHive and at Visual Arts Passage. We're going to check it out at the end of the night. It's my favorite part. It's always fun. And I think tonight's going to be a fun one because people like to draw creatures. Um, I chose two Gremlin characters. I was like, oh, I should do a different one from a different franchise, like different IP. But Gremlins is so funny to me because it's like a kids movie, but it's like not a kids movie at all. It's
Right. I
like
can't show it to my kids.
it's terrifying. It's like
I love it.
it lives in a weird space where there's only a couple movies that do this where like unjustified what would you call it? Like unjustified tragedies occur to people like to people and characters that don't deserve it
Mm-hmm.
and and they're done comically, which makes it even worse,
Yes.
you know? And there's like only a couple movies I've seen that done where you're like, "Oh, that character didn't deserve that."
That was rough. Yeah.
And that was weird, you know? Like it was weird you did that. Yeah. But now it sounds like, oh, we got to do it. We can't just do whatever Gizmo. Um,
Oh, that looks great already, John. Well, this is good. We're bookends here because I'm gonna do Gizmo because I always wanted Gizmo as a pet.
mhm.
When I was a kid, I didn't realize he wasn't real. So.
Yeah, they're kind of like it's kind of like a guinea pig,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
But more dangerous after midnight.
Right. It's just like, yeah, what is it? You can't feed them after midnight or spill. Can you
Or
spill
spill
water
water on
on
him. Nope.
at any time? No water on them at any time.
What happens if you spill water on
They
them?
become gremlins.
Oh,
Or
okay.
they pop the gremlin or the gizmo mogwais like come out of the back and then those could turn into gremlins.
Yeah. It's it's as far as it's interesting that Hollywood is really like going above and beyond to like scrape the barrel and like reboot every franchise that's
Oh my
available.
gosh, everything.
It really blows me away because I saw that they're rebooting The Naked Gun and I was like, wow.
I just saw that
I was
today.
like, wow,
Why?
that is last on the list I would have expected to be reboot, right?
That's going to be a tough one.
Hey, you know what, John? I watched the trailer and I was like, you know what? It looks like they're doing it right.
They're good.
Yeah, but how have they not done a reboot of Gremlin yet? It's crazy. On
I
the
don't think
topic
they
of
know how
Gremlins,
to, honestly.
on the topic of Gremlins, I thought Ray, I thought this was your night off.
Hey,
I
Ray,
Hey everyone. I was given the okay. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
All
I
right,
certainly
Ray.
what a
so I'm
treat.
here. Yep.
I'm really happy you're here.
Treat.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Ray, it looks like you're getting very technical tonight.
I know. Like, I
God.
got my cardboard,
Uh,
and then Ray's like working on a plane that he can shift perspective.
yeah, I don't know. I might regret it. I'm not sure. I'm totally unprepared today. I usually have like a decent idea of what I want to do, so uh but today's not one of those days.
Wow. How much of the all the little bells and whistles that are on the screen right now do you understand? I'm
Uh
like, you and I talked about this. It actually kind of blew my mind. You and I talked about uh not layer. What were we talking about? I can't believe I can't think of the term now. It's one of those words that always evades me. Not filters, not layers, but screening, right?
uh but I mean
Can't I think of the word?
like a projection
Nah, we can
or
move on. Sorry, I'm not gonna
okay.
think. Yeah. Um, but some of the tools that I use, like in Adobe Premiere, that I've used forever, and I just do them by feel. I have no idea how they manipulate an image.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I can't think of anything now. Short answer,
Like
I understand a
multiply,
decent
burn.
amount.
It's the
Yeah.
multiply, burn, screen. You know, why can't I think of the? I don't know. That's how familiar I am with it.
I know, right? Yeah, I don't know what they do. Like certain things, like I was just learning what multiply does, and I completely forgot, of course. But it was like, oh, so that's what it does. Like what it
Yeah,
actually, how it actually functions.
yeah, like the
Uh,
science, the like, or the maybe the math or the science of it.
right. Yeah, so yeah, I have no idea. I mean, like with 3D, it's a little bit. No, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. It's like, oh, this averages out the vertexes that it's grabbing, and that's why it's able to smooth this out. Or it's like, oh god, okay, as long as it looks good, I'm good. You know?
I was like, I don't even know what vertex means.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
blending,
Oh, blend modes. Yeah,
blending. Yeah.
right. Blend modes. Yeah. Right, totally right. Yeah, like soft light, hard light.
Oh, don't know
Uh,
what any of them do. I just click through them. I just click through them until I'm like, yeah, that one works. Which is probably not good. I don't know.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I don't think you should change.
Yeah. What have you been working on?
Currently, I finished a painting that I was on the easel for a while, which was really great. Started a new study for another one, which is why I'm not painting in acrylics today. Also, I didn't think I was going to be painting with you folk today. So, but yeah, working on some gallery paintings. Feeling good about them. Some good paintings. I'm happy with the way they're turning out. I
Is
should
that
say I haven't
for
messed them up yet.
is that for a like a show at a gallery, or is it just to go to like a gallerist you're working with for like an
General yeah,
Inventory.
general inventory. Yeah.
okay.
Yep. The idea is like you want to constantly keep feeding your galleries
Yeah.
new work. So,
What do you think is a better deal or a better goal for an artist to have a gallery that they're providing inventory to, or like have a solo show or be part of a like more frequent shows?
It totally depends on the gallery and how much they sell of your work.
Yeah.
Like, if you're if you're adding to inventory and they're not really moving, or you do a solo show and they don't really sell, like it's all so dependent on like who are the clients with the gallery and how well do they know the work that you create and can find the right homes for it.
Right. Yep. That's what I would say.
Do you guys work with any galleries that have successful like digital sales?
When you say digital sales, do you mean like
Like-
selling online for or selling digital
Yeah,
work?
that like most of their purchases are from people from like out maybe out of state or out of city.
Oh
And
yeah.
Oh yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and like the purchase occurs like I guess the best way of saying it is like their buyers are buying like sight unseen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
I think it would
Yeah.
be hard for a gallery to survive without doing that a lot now.
right. I would just I guess imagine at a certain level that becomes harder. Just like cars, you know.
I think if you
Mhm.
are at a certain level and of a certain name and you have collectors that know your work, you
Yeah.
know, a picture is good enough because they kind of have an understanding of what they're
Mhm.
getting. So, you know, I have collectors
Yeah.
that haven't been to my shows because they're all the way across the country, but you know, every show I'm in, they buy a piece from.
That's so cool. I guess I was imagining there would be this like in between stage, you know, where it's like too expensive for like a person to buy sight unseen, but it's expense, you know, it's like it's there's a you know the awkward teen phase
Mm-hmm.
of being a gallery painter, right?
Oh, well, yeah, that definitely occurs.
Do you think that there are there's a danger zone of pricing where it's just harder to sell
Uh-huh. There's
like there
growing
it's
pains
like
when
harder to
you
sell this is my example it's harder to sell like $1,000 painting than it is a $2,000 painting, if that makes sense.
um again, it depends. Like if
Yeah.
you raise your prices too fast, then it makes people worried. Like, that kind of basically the bottom will fall out. And so the people may be
Hmm.
slow to pull the trigger on buying the piece.
Yeah.
So it depends. Like if you raise your prices too fast, people get uncomfortable. If you don't raise your prices, you know, they sell a lot, but you're kind of not moving. So it's a delicate balance with all of that.
What would you guess your if you had to guess percentage of buyers who are really looking at the paintings they're buying as investments versus like a thing something they love?
I think the more expensive pieces are often investments.
Okay.
I think the pieces that are more affordably priced are chosen out of love
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
strong like.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
On like, yeah.
I read that actually, I didn't read it, I heard this in a podcast of talking to a group of good, real kind of high-end blue chip galleries. And they said that their favorite collectors were the ones that started collecting because they loved it. And then now there's people that just buy it because they were told to buy an artist because of its value. And
I've been told to never buy art for that reason because it's just not a good there ain't no guarantees. Yeah, that's interesting. Whereas if you buy something that you love,
you're
like
still
there's
appreciate it. Yeah.
you don't lose 100% of what you bought, right?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you still love it.
It's just
Right?
there because you want it around you and
Yeah,
you
right.
appreciate
Like if
it.
I buy a painting that's worth $1,000 because I love it, like it's still worth $1,000 hypothetically, and I love it. But if it loses $1,000, I still love it. But if I just bought it, right? Because if it's an
Hmm.
investment, it's just like, okay, now I got this painting. What am I gonna do with it? Um,
Well, what they ended up by saying, they were suggesting don't ever buy a piece of art you don't really like
yeah,
just because you were told of its value.
yeah, yeah, because there's a utility in that. You get to enjoy it,
Right.
Yeah.
you know?
appreciation factor to it, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, did you ever see the Price of Everything, the Value of Nothing, the documentary on kind of like
No.
art auctions?
I have not.
It goes into that just about kind of the people that are determining the price of the paintings are not always people that love the art, but are really just pricing it as investments for themselves and kind of force prices on artists up that go to auction. And so it's kind of a scary thing as an artist. I know with your dad's work, you would probably like feel this way, like to go to auction because that sets a value for your work that you may not want it to be set at. And then, it can change. So they show one artist who had been valued very high from auctions, and then people behind the scenes decided they didn't like that artist anymore. So they crashed his prices, and he basically had to pretty much restart again just in the gallery scene and slowly re-rise his prices again.
That would be rough.
I guess it depends on how high the prices were and if they were smart, you know?
Yeah, and he was an older man when this happened, so it was very jarring to him.
Was this Larry?
Oof.
Huh?
It was Larry Poons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam,
Hey, everyone.
Hey,
Adam.
Adam.
I got Adam here.
Like I remember the gallery Think Space out in Culver City, California. The owner, he's very protective of his artists. And so there's some artists that are at blue chip level and he has them sign contracts that they can't immediately send it to auction and change the prices. And so like they set limitations onto the way that the artist sold because they're trying to protect the artist's prices.
Man, I would love to see how long those contracts are for.
Yeah, I've
'Cause
never
that would
seen
be,
the contract. I've just heard about it.
yeah, that would be one of those things where I'd be like, because obviously it's to protect the artist, and I totally get that, you know?
Hmm.
But then I'm also like, I guess, is it like a blue chip gallery or is it like,
Some of the work, I mean, they sell a whole variety, but they're at that level with many of their artists.
because there's just like, I mean, I don't know. There's a part of me that's just like, sometimes you just need cash. You just need to move stuff. You
Well,
know what
no,
I
the
mean?
art is selling
Right.
at an extremely expensive price. The artist is happy with where it is. He does
Oh,
not
no,
want
no,
it
no,
to go
no.
to
No,
auction.
I understand that, but I'm saying like the idea of buying like a high ticket item with like the caveat that you can't sell it, um, is
Or you can't sell it at auction immediately.
but you could like
You can't
sell it.
flip it.
You can't flip it. Yeah, that's what I mean. That would, I guess I'm just not rich enough to understand the craziness that would cost.
that's one of the bigger issues they're having, like with high-end
Yeah,
artwork right now, is the museums can't afford it.
Right.
And
Right.
the people that are the billionaires in the world are buying up art, and what they're doing with it is they're putting it in their personal residence and nobody sees it.
Or a warehouse.
Or a
Like
warehouse.
that's
Or
been,
they just store it. Well,
yeah.
that's the other downside with museums too, because for years they've been able to buy enough and they can't display it all.
yeah.
And
So, yeah, John, go.
so
Sorry.
they bring the work out, they rotate it. Um, and again, it's not the best thing for the public, I don't think.
Totally agree with that. Also, like, I think that you know what, if they're going to protect the artist, or they're going to protect the art or the community, instead of the you can't resell it, I would rather say this cannot be put in a storage facility.
But like, I think you're confused. I think they can resell it, but they cannot resell it through auction.
Oh, so it's only auction? Okay.
Yeah, the auction is the problem, is like that one, none of that money. So they are shooting artist price up, and the artist doesn't get any of that money. And so they're just profiting themselves off of it and altering the price so that the paintings are for the artist, and the artist can't sell the paintings at that price outside
I
of that
see.
situation. So
I guess I don't have an issue with like somebody finding a way to like profit off of, and I'm thinking out loud. I just want to be
but
clear
think
about
about
that.
it this
I
way,
could be
because of
persuaded.
something selling at auction
Right.
Yeah.
3 times what you sell your paintings for, that
Yeah.
resets your prices, and then no one else will buy your paintings at that price.
Yeah, the idea is that, it does turn you into an investment commodity. Like if you sell high at auction,
Yeah.
now you're a smart, quick investment. But that means because, essentially your price goes up for people who are buying art for an investment, which means your the market, which is you in this case, can crash. And
Right.
then you kind of have to start, now you're a bad investment.
Yeah.
So you can lose a lot of your collectors. Like it really is selfish of in the auction market is not supporting the artist.
So it's just my lack of understanding of like economics, honestly, where you start to be like what is the magic that occurs at an auction that like doesn't occur between like a private sale, you know what I mean?
Well, if you
I'm
think
not,
about
I'm not, this is not me pushing back at all,
No,
by
no, no.
yeah.
I'm happy to talk
Yeah.
about it. I think it should be talked
It's
about.
kind of me breaking down what I don't understand about it.
Like there is so much of this romantic idea of like you think as an artist you would want your art to go to auction, but a lot of it is often art that has already been sold, so you're not going to profit off of it at all. The artists don't
Right.
get any money when it exchanges and sells for 3 times the amount. Only the collector and the buyer are the ones that are profiting in the situation. So it's kind of
Which I think, but I think that that is but I think that that is okay.
in
That,
Europe, that's not how it goes.
Yeah, right. This is a purely US thing.
This is a
but
US
like,
thing.
you know, like when I sell my house, like when that person sells my house 5 years from now, even if I built my house, like I don't gain
Right,
any
but
sort of like
every
percentage
house
of
that
that.
you buy is not affected by the prices
Okay.
because you sold your previous house at that.
But what if I was like an architect?
Well, I guess you do want to kind of think about uh,
I'm really
that
just like
that
playing
is
devil's
that is
advocate.
that is
Yeah.
closer to it. But I guess what you want to think about is it's the idea of becoming someone else's investment.
Okay.
You're not actually being invested in.
Okay.
Like your work is an investment for someone else. You're not being invested in. And the thing with what if you think about how the gallery idea would work, it's sort of like if you think of what it takes to give something an astronomical value, at the very least, it's
Hmm.
two people who want it.
Okay.
Right? If you think about that, like the highest price someone can go for all depends on who outbids who.
Right.
Once it's sold, once you get to a certain level, it's funny. We were just talking about this with the guest speaker in my professional practice
Oh, nice.
last week, who's an art historian,
Yeah.
and he deals in he consults in the art in the contemporary market frequently, and but in a lot of cases he's like, like he's got like a fee, right, as a
Yeah.
professional, but he won't take a cut.
Okay.
And he's like, no, because that completely taints his opinion then.
It
If he says
does.
something's
That's really
worth
smart.
something and then he gets a cut of what that is. Um, but it's because his advice to students was essentially he started his talk with like, you're probably not going to be famous and you shouldn't want to be famous. And you shouldn't want your work to be an investment. You should want to make your work and you should want to sell your work to people who want your work. Which,
I totally agree with that.
yeah.
I think there's a really healthy middle class in the art world that gets totally shunned right now. And I think a lot of the like shunned as like it's like not acknowledged as like a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very real.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
I am happy to be in middle class.
well,
Middle
I
class
think that
art.
I think that it's a happier place to be, honestly.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Um, but the thing that I think is like I was talking with Tony Rodriguez about this. Like it's and actually, I've been talking with a lot of people about this. I was at New School last week when I was in New York and talked quite a bit with one of the instructors there about this. Like it's it, generationally, there's this like obsession with like a level of success that is absurd.
And unrealistic.
Yeah.
Unrealistic, absurd, and this is not a like dogging on like you can't do it or you shouldn't do it. It's just like literally, it's just like maybe read some Buddha, like like
Yeah.
calm down.
Yeah, there's a
Like
fascination with skipping the line, right?
yeah, fascination with
That's a
skipping
good
the
way.
line, but also it's just like, guys, we're grains of sand. Even the most iconic artist you ever point out, a couple hundred years from now, no one will know who they are.
Right.
like like and you know what, you like even the artists that you tell me like well they all everybody knows Michelangelo, there will be a day when they don't. It's hard to fathom. It might be way longer, but eventually this is time.
Well, also
And maybe I'm
there.
being like too spiritual or like
No, but I
weird,
mean,
you
the
know.
funny thing in all of this is a lot of the artists that we know by name, that we remember, and we're
Yeah,
just like, that's a master. You know, there's a handful that were very famous in their time, but there were actually other artists that were way bigger that they thought would stand the test of time and everyone would know their name. And honestly, a lot of them, we don't know their name.
I
yeah,
I came upon a copy of it was like it might have been the 1959 printing of Gardner's Art Through the Ages. And so of course I went to the last page. Um
yeah.
and it said, there was a paragraph dedicated to um Jackson Pollock and Willem de Kooning, saying they were doing some interesting things and that the Americans had this abstract expressionism thing that was kind of interesting. But if you looked at what the Canadians were doing with it, that's where the action was. And that
Yeah.
Canadian abstract expressionism was set to take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we're gonna move on to the second post. It's hashtag dry knife 244, hashtag dry knife and have visual arts passage. I'm gonna share it in the chat. By the way, I opened the chat up to everybody. So if you want to let us know where you're tuning in from and what materials you're using, please do.
Um, Xander had a question too. A friend
Yeah,
recommended pricing by the square inch. How do you guys price your work? This is always like a big one, a big question.
By the square inch.
that's Grinch.
Ish. I
Yep.
want to say ish because
Yeah, that's true.
it doesn't like, by the square inch for like an 8 by 10
Yeah.
versus by the square inch for a 36 by 36. Like that doesn't always sync up.
Yeah, I actually
Yep, the curve.
I graphed mine and found it was a parabola.
Of course
Like
you did.
the line almost goes up, but it just sort of like it goes up faster for the 8 by 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yes.
it just starts to kind of go. And by the time I get to the difference between 4 by 5 and 5 by 6, it's, because if I keep following what that 8 by 10 graph was, suddenly what is for the market of people that like the things I make, the number looked goofy.
Now, Adam, what I have to do is I have a price scale up to 36 by 36.
Uh-huh.
And then from 36 inches larger, you have a different square inch price
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it gets obscene. I mean,
It just, no one wants to pay
changes so
that.
quickly.
Right. It's
Yeah.
sort of like when I have students who sort of ask me about like quoting a job, and my very unscientific, semi-scientific way of saying it is to go like, well, you're a professional, right? So if you're a professional, you're probably $100 an hour because that's what any professional you'll ever hire will be. And then look at the number you get and ask yourself if it's ridiculous. Because it can go in either way. You can take the amount of hours someone will take you, multiply by 100, look at it and go, yeah, $2,000 isn't so bad for that. Or you can, be a slow worker, look at your 8 by 10 and go, I can't charge $10,000 for this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're fast, you don't want to do something and then be like, wow, well, I can't charge $50 for that. right? It's art. So you sort of, I said, start at 100, and if the number is ridiculous, if you divide in half, um, see what you're out. Are you still making $50 an hour? And if you weren't an artist, would you be willing to do something for $50 an hour?
Yeah. It's also just a matter of like, what is the market willing to pay?
Yeah, right. Somewhere in there, you have a market. The person you're working for has a budget that's attainable for them, and you get to the point of, do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Which I guess is part of pricing your work too. You kind of have to look at who can afford it and decide if, is that who you want to afford it?
Yeah. I mean, some of the
As
best,
a starting out kind of thing,
the best day rates in photography that I've ever seen. I know some people that have day rates in photography that are above $40,000, right? And
Wow.
um and then there are people that their day rate is 4 or 5. And I know a lot of people in the 4 to 5 range that have beat out those 40 to 50s over the course of a year. And it's just they're like playing the market way harder.
Mhm.
Now, do
yeah, and
they
it's
have
not
a
it's
work?
not the idea of undercutting, the profession, right?
There's definitely not undercutting it.
Oh.
There are levels to the game. And to be at a $40,000 day rate, you're working. I mean, you are basically a famous photographer, and
And you worked your butt off to get there.
you worked your butt off to get there, and you're being hired pretty much exclusively not in the US. You're being flown around the world, and you're doing global campaigns, and you know but you have a work. What's happened is like a lot of those guys or gals or guys,
I was
they
gonna say, is
change.
that like an Annie Leibovitz? Like that's what I.
No, Annie Leibovitz does an editorial. She probably doesn't make that much money at all. I mean, I'm sure she has a good day rate, but like, no, editorial photography doesn't pay well. Commercial photography pays gangbusters. Um, there are really successful editorial photographers whose day rates were less than what my day rate was just getting started in commercial photography.
Wow.
It's just, when you're working with a magazine, Annie Leibovitz, when she shoots something for, I don't know, Annie's.
Because she's like had museum shit.
I should be, well, yeah, if you're talking about a museum piece, but like, or you're talking about how she sells her work,
No,
like,
no, no. Like
oh,
I'm just more of like asking, like she seems at a crazy level. But that's really
she,
interesting what you're saying. Yeah.
she is, she is. I'm not dogging at all on her level at all. I mean, she's one of the best to
Yeah.
ever do it. Yeah, no, it's not a commentary at all on her
I didn't think it was. It
work.
was just, yeah, I didn't think
Yeah.
about it from the perspective of because she's
Also,
editorial.
I also need to say I don't know what Annie Leibovitz's rates are. So
Hmm.
but like editorial photography is determined by editorial budgets.
Mm.
And so, you know, a lot of magazines don't have a $50,000 budget for just the photographer, not the makeup, like everybody else that has to be on
Hmm.
set.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas like commercial photography, like there's also a direct revenue connected with an advertisement, like an advertisement campaign that,
Hmm.
you do a big shoot for Nike, they can assign a value to the success of your campaign you shot with them, and they can say this was the return on that campaign when we worked with so and so, you know. Whereas
Oh,
like
that's a really good point.
Time magazine doesn't have that, right?
Yeah.
They're
No,
just
that's really interesting. Yeah.
um
You know,
so
I had a funny
but I can I just like say one more time,
Oh, no, go
I
ahead.
am not saying Annie Leibovitz doesn't make money, although Annie Leibovitz famously has money problems.
I do
But
remember that being news. Yeah,
what was that?
I do remember that being news.
Yeah, and she did run one of the worst master classes ever. It was really bad. But Annie Leibovitz is one of the best to ever do it, you know. So not a great teacher. Um,
Hey, Rembrandt had money problems,
Yep.
Right.
yeah, maybe he wasn't a great teacher. Who knows, right?
A lot of famous people had money problems.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson went bankrupt
Yeah.
twice.
And someone says, you know, she's charging $100,000 for an individual shoot. That is, that is not editorial. Because, and you're saying Vanity Fair. I know Vanity Fair rates for shoots, they don't pay that. But yeah. Um, yeah, I was actually on set for Vanity Fair shoot not too long ago. They don't pay anyone that.
I
But
mean,
yeah.
everybody else got $100,000. You didn't.
Everybody else got 100 grand? Yeah.
I'm teasing.
Yeah. Probably. No. No, commercial photography is where it's at. And it's the reason why it's where it's easy to get in too, because nobody out of school wants to do it. Or at least when I was out of school, nobody wanted to do it. I mean, I was applying, I didn't even go to photography school. And they were like, thank God somebody wants to do this. Yeah. But yeah. My friend owns one of the 20 prints that Annie Leibovitz shot and printed of is the last photo. I believe it's the last photo of John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which or maybe it's if it's the last photo, it's like the last photo shoot.
Where'd your friend get it at? Auction?
No, he's friend. No, yeah, and that's why Annie didn't make any money on it.
Ew.
No. No, he's friends with her. It's Vidros, Nick Vidros. It was a gift to him.
Wow.
Yeah. If his house was on fire, that's what I'd run in and get.
Mhm.
And I'd be like, Nick, you're okay, right? Uh,
And he would be like, "Did you get the Leibowitz?"
yeah. Yeah, that's a Nick, that's Nick's energy. He'd be like, get the Leibovitz. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. You walk into his house, it's like right there. It's wild. Sign and everything. It says one of 20, or he doesn't have one of 20. He is not that good of friends. I think he's got like 18 of 20. Yeah.
That's still amazing to have one of the 20.
Yeah. Also it's, you know, if you were to put the list of like Annie Leibovitz photos together, I would say that's top 5
Hmm.
of her like most iconic photos. I always think of like Whoopi Gold. Is it Whoopi Gold? I'm trying to think of who it is. She has a really great photo of Whoopi Goldberg, I think.
Just so many. Just so many. I
Yeah.
love the photography.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find photos. Um, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite photos. This is so cool. Share it. Sorry. Moving slow here. John, do you want to start getting ready for your big show?
Oh, I almost forgot about it.
It's like,
Yeah,
I've got a gremlin to draw, dude.
This
I
is
got
one of my
a lot
favorites.
of work in front of me.
You guys ever seen this photo?
Oh, that
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Really smart. Really well done.
She's so playful too.
Yeah.
All right. Timmy, you ready?
Let's do it. Do. Yeah.
Is that full screen?
Yeah.
I'm
It
glad.
is.
I'm
It's
glad
good.
Ray, Cassandra, and Adam are here to help me out. So this guy,
Oh,
Oh.
that guy.
uh,
So good.
really, really amazing. One of the first illustrators that I learned about, and I still don't know that much about him. I know quite a bit, but not a huge amount. Looked at a lot of his work. Um, German transplant, born in Germany in 1874. Probably best known for his 80 covers for Collier's Weekly and his 322 covers for Saturday Evening Post. And
More than Norman Rockwell.
pardon me?
More than Norman Rockwell.
Yeah, and I would probably think that I know that he and Norman were friends, and I would kind of guess that Norman looked at him as an influence in a major way, and maybe vice versa over time. Um, but I'll show you some things that if you don't know, he started. Um, uh, as I said, he was a transplant from Chicago. He was educated at I remember this right at the Institute, the Chicago Fine Arts. Uh, what's the right name, Ray? The Chicago Art Institute.
You got it.
And he also uh, attended. He and his brother. His brother was also an illustrator, Frank. He attended the academic Julian in Paris, and uh, uh, who I'm gonna challenge Ray at the Art Institute. Who did he study with?
I think he studied with Vanderpool, didn't he?
You're right,
Or yeah.
John Vanderpool.
Did he study with? Yep. Did he study with Dumont, or was that a little bit?
I don't know.
No,
John
Dumont was much
Vanderpool
later.
is the only name that I came up with. But he definitely learned a lot.
Mhm.
An amazing painter, academic, but with tremendous amount of personal voice. And, I think it's interesting, his kind of first claim to fame was working for, getting known for establishing look and for fashion companies. And obviously the Arrow shirts, one of his major clients, what I always think of him as. And then the tremendous amount of illustration work that he did. So this stuff, some of it's in order, some of it's not chronologically. I'm just going to click through. This is, I believe, a crop. But I included it because of you could see a lot more of the mark making. So this was kind of always a question that came up was, who do you think he was influenced by, Ray? What group of painters, I should say?
Well, but he studied a lot of like Art Nouveau and a lot of the classical allegorical painters at the time. I know that. I mean, he had teachers like Bouguereau. Um, but I would say, Mucha for sure.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
that he was heavily influenced by the Art Nouveau artists as much as anything.
yeah.
But with the, obviously with the uh, ability to paint the human figure at just an exceptionally high level. And to bring incredible information to things, but with a twist to it. That's even harder, I think.
Yeah.
Bringing that personal voice and it being so consistent in everything that he did.
You could tell it's totally a result of just a lot of just in, design work that goes on behind the scenes. I mean,
I have some
I
of
don't.
that, Ray.
Oh,
Show
yeah. I
you some of
can't wait to see it.
Yeah. But I mean, I love his like interpretation of, digging into to the shapes, reorganizing the shapes and paying attention to the directional strokes and a very chiseled feel to a lot of the strokes. It's more academic stuff.
Now, I read a lot of his drawings at the Académie Julian were They were very rigid about how you would crosshatch, and that's what influenced his paint strokes. Um,
Oh, he
I
was.
don't know if that's a line diker.
Pardon me?
I don't know if that one's a line diker. That looks like a study.
I I think it is. Could be not. I think I pulled it off of, that was one of a group of things off of a site that was all dedicated to him.
Oh, okay.
But I miss every once in a while, Ray.
That's
And
okay. You're
yeah,
allowed.
that's a really frustrating part of doing all of this. You get to somebody that's this well known and this, has such a following. There's so many master copies of
Oh yeah.
their work, and they're titled, like in Leindecker, or with Leindecker's name. Fetchin's that way also. It's like almost impossible to separate them.
Oh, I bet.
I love those. I love those football ones. Ah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Killer.
You get to, or it's like earlier work. So for those of you interested in line decker, so the difference between those two pieces, I mean, that's considerable. That's different parts of his career. You know. The New Year's baby. I love these design ones here.
Look at that.
Look at that.
That's gorgeous.
One of my favorites. And it's less indicative of him, but I just love it.
I love these.
Yeah.
Poster work was
You could
amazing.
totally see that.
Oh, yeah.
Does Tom Blackshear own this? Own that piece?
I don't know.
Really?
I think
This
I think
particular
that I
piece?
think yeah, that one right there. Yeah.
No way. That's
He
amazing.
might. I would look into that, John, because I'm pretty sure I heard that, but I could be wrong.
I could tell Tom looked at it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so cool.
Oh yeah.
A bunch of post covers.
His children, like his children are so like kind of jagged and sculptural and heavy and yet still delicate and cute.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like they're chiseled out of stone and pudgy at the same time.
Look at that foot. That is a beautiful foot.
Right.
So-
And those are some perfect baby armpits too.
Mm-hmm.
I say things like that around here, and then I say, like, they said exactly the same thing the business hall just an hour ago. I bet you anything they're saying that right now.
Yeah, I know, right? I love that one. That's like I was showing my class that I teach on Fridays that piece, and just going off about how he designed all of the folds to support the shape design of the picture, like how the entire gesture of the picture and the folds echo each other. Absolutely love that piece.
Mm.
That's another great one.
I kind of stopped talking about his life, but and I think around in the 1902 was about the time that he moved to New York. No, that's when he went to Paris. When he came back from Paris, he and his brother moved to New York and settled in New Rochelle, New York. At the time, he had just gotten his first commissions from Saturday Evening Post, and he went into a very different economic bracket.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, and he pushed it to the limit. He kind of ran out of money at the end of his life.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
I was
speaking
just
of money trouble.
right.
Yeah,
you know,
he had a chauffeur and a number of people that worked in his house and took care of them, and he lived very, very well. Um, but he had to get rid of all of that in the last 5 years of his life, which is,
one
which really, kind of irks me. It's not uncommon in the illustration world that the illustration world kind of chewed him up and became so, he was so popular and in such demand, and then it just all cut off. And the same thing happened to Maxfield Parrish.
well, I will say in defense, I mean, he was famous for saying like his career advice. I think it was Rockwell or somebody had asked him
About the
like,
spending. Yeah.
yeah, well, how do you stay, inspired and constantly hungry? And he was like, live beyond your means.
Yes, I was
You
gonna say
know,
that quote if you
it's like
had it.
not exactly somebody who's
Right.
Yeah.
money conscious, so
Well, he
Yeah.
didn't think it was ever going to end. He
right.
thought that he was going to just consistently, and nobody knew because, of printing and the magazines were so popular. They couldn't foresee that it changing so much, or that it became oversaturated and
Yeah.
they wanted somebody else. That's a common thing, later, illustrators later in life.
Yeah, enter, Charles Dana Gibson is pretty much the person who took over
So check
for
out.
him. And also,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, one thing I was going to say is like, the when they realized that uh, they could get more advertising dollars because they around that time is the reason why NC Wyeth and a lot of the Brandywine illustrators went out of work. Was because the publishers realized that they made more money from advertisers than subscribers, so they started doing everything in their power to get more advertisers. And so that's where Linedecker came in. It was instead of swashbucklers and knights, it was all modern stuff, and the covers were modern. And then they went further and they started thinking about like, it was when after World War I, World War II, they started realizing like, who are the people that read the magazines the most, and it's all it's a female audience is primarily, and so they started gearing more storied illustrations towards that and combining that, and so it's interesting to see how illustration, the demand for illustration where it's used most, how the money moves like that. It's
Right.
something so simple like that, and then and then you could see why Linedecker kind of went out of vogue, because he really was more of a designer. He did tell stories, but it wasn't like you wouldn't say that
It was more
was
about the picture.
Yeah, they're in
right.
the
It was more about the picture.
Yeah. So Ray, this is what I was talking to, about
Yeah, man.
the effort
Look at
that
that.
he put in to
Yeah.
figure this stuff out was amazing. And you're talking about the design, the application of way laid down paint, very, very calculated.
Mm.
Yep. And he would try different fold configurations. Everything was done from life, as far as I read. And so he would have somebody there and he would do these studies and try different look at that. Look at the one on the right is great because it's like
yeah.
3 completely different fold configurations of just a single sleeve.
Yeah.
And then 2 of the pants, like
Yeah.
he's thinking about this stuff, it's like, of course it's going to be, it's going to look good, I love, there was one that he was like moving the thumb, like it with this, like
Light
these
variation.
different hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Love that one.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's one of my favorites too.
Oh yeah.
That one too.
Mm. I keep relating to different people in these as I get older.
Yeah. Okay, here's my question to the panel. Outside of Linedecker, Do you know of any other illustrator or artist that has like multiple signatures all being like super iconic?
Oh, that's a
Oh,
great question.
Because I don't think anybody did it better than he did. But
No.
that's my opinion on it.
you mean signature wise?
Yeah,
Yeah, because like if you saw Timmy, if you saw how John was flipping through, the signatures were changed and they were all beautifully designed.
Beautiful.
Like they were just meticulous. Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody have an answer?
I can't think of one.
no.
No.
I think it's really uncommon for an artist to vary his signature that many times in their career.
It sure doesn't help. Like you're right? I mean,
I think
doesn't it
it's
No, it's
kind of
branding.
doesn't it kind of
showing
muddy the
off.
water?
Somebody said Dali, but now I feel like I have to go look at Dali paintings to see if they did multiple signatures.
Let's see.
Man, look at
Oh,
that
that's
one.
so cool.
Wow.
Look
I
how
could totally
designed the
see
smoke
Tom.
is.
Yeah, like that's like, oh, it's
Yeah,
so good.
Dolly had a lot of signatures. He had a lot.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
did.
I just did a little Google and you're like, whoa.
Really big shifts in the look and feel of these two.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He did a lot of work promoting our services,
Hmm, that's cool.
both in World War One and World War Two.
John, you and I talked about that. This is back in the day when if you look up any of these illustrators' bios, they all start with military careers.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 Makes
After
you
he served in the army. Yeah.
makes you acknowledge the time.
Absolutely. Well, it's that very consistent for the artists
Yeah.
of my father's generation.
Yeah.
Most of them went to art school on the GI Bill.
Yeah. God.
That feels safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's wild. That was wild.
That falls under a different time.
Yep.
Yep, this thing's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was his home and studio in New Rochelle,
Oh.
New York.
Oh, cool. I knew we'd have a cool house.
Worse.
He lived right next to Bob Petrie.
That's a compound. That's
Humble abode.
yeah. If
Right.
you wanted to start a cult and you're like, this is the property we got, I'd be like, this is good. This is gonna be good.
Guys, I think it's gonna work.
Yeah, I think this is gonna do good.
Yeah, it's
But
interesting to see, illustrators of that vintage in their studios and homes and check out Maxfield Parrish's. Uh,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's amazing. Looks like one of his paintings.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, that's my introduction to J.C. Linedecker. Sorry for uh,
Great one, John. Thank you so much.
talking
no, it
much,
was
but
fun. I liked that one a lot.
yeah,
Thank you.
amazing
Uh,
talent, incredible influence on our industry.
yeah, and also I'll say this: if anybody wants to read more about the details, Dr. Terry Friel wrote a little blog post that would be a nice little summary of what you went over, John.
Absolutely, more
Very.
more detail.
Yeah, maybe. I
Awesome.
don't.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. I while you were doing that presentation, I was preparing my formal apology to Annie Leibovitz because I was musing on it, and I was like, you were too I was too revved up. And so I want to step back on what I said. And I can't emphasize enough how talented I think Annie Leibovitz is. But I do think she's an artist that is a little wonky outside of her trade.
Aren't the good ones like so many?
Yeah, yeah. And then also I wanted to explain why when you look up her rates, I didn't mean to snap the person. When you look up her rates, it can be kind of confusing because Annie Leibovitz was involved in several lawsuits, over the value of her work and a lot of them and her catalog of work. And a lot of it involved inflating her supposed day rates. And so many of these publications have gone and weighed in and been like, we never paid Annie Leibovitz that much.
Bro.
Yeah, so but yeah, if you want to know how to find yourself in $24 million in debt,
Oh,
can you imagine? That's Annie Leib.
oh,
That she could give a master class on that for sure.
oh, that's so
Yeah,
hard to
There's
maybe we
class.
should draft an apology, Timmy. We should probably draft an apology. You went back.
Sorry, I
You
can't
went
help
back to-
myself. I can't help myself. You know
Great
what?
talent.
You know what? This is why I'm a little bitter about Annie Leibovitz. I paid $100 to attend her master class, and it was awful. It was like just go out and shoot and like, just get your camera and you just got to go shoot. And it was just like, and I'm a person that I've studied under great photographers. That's not the solution. That's that's not it.
There's more to it.
There's more to it than that.
Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
if anybody signs up for a painting, a
Yeah.
course or illustration course with us, we're not going to tell you just to go paint or draw is
Yeah.
the answer. I will say that. That's
We will say to
not the
go
way
do
we
that,
roll.
but we will also preface with more.
Yeah, we will
Right.
actually never use the word just.
In
Yes.
fact, I
Right.
think if you Google worst master classes of all time, I do think she's like on the lit. Like I think that she's like it made enough waves that like it's on like blog lists. So, anyways, that was such a
Yeah.
half-ass acknowledgement of my couldn't help it.
Good apo-
They're like,
good-
I'm sorry,
Can't-
but burn.
Can't help it. Can't help it. I've got a bone to pick with her. I felt like I got scammed. It was like right when Masterclass came out. Have you guys ever taken a Masterclass?
I
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
one did you do, Ray? Which one did they get you on?
I did the Herbie Hancock. So I had a really awesome friend, still do. She they had a where they had like a buy one get one
Oh, yeah, yeah.
membership, and so I was given the extra membership to Masterclass. So
Oh, so
I
you got
didn't-
in
I
when
didn't
it
pay
was
for
a monthly thing.
They took the
yes,
extra
yeah,
with
because
Johnny.
but I got a full year. I got a full year. It was a buy one get one full year, so I got a whole year of it.
So when they first started, it was like Werner Herzog, Annie
With Steve
Leibovitz
Martin, right?
that's late, man. The
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean not super late, but I
Is
think
that Ron
might have,
Howard then?
it was David Mamet, um, Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, I was gonna say they had the directors.
Yeah, and then there was one more that I'm thinking of. But like literally when I bought the Annie Leibovitz one, they only had like 7 products on their website. And they
Yeah.
were $100
Wow.
each. So you had to pay. It was a
Oh,
la carte. You didn't get a subscription. You paid for lifetime access.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you just
Oh,
had to pay a
wow.
flat fee. And so I paid $100 for this Annie Leibovitz thing, expecting some gold. And because at the same time, like I was involved in online education and I was looking at the production. I was calling John probably like twice a week, being like, dude, there's this company in online education. Like, you're not gonna believe the production value. I'm like, I bet they're spending 100 grand just to produce one class. And
Yeah.
and then it was like, oh, they spent all the money on the production value. But and then I bought the Aaron Sorkin one just because I love Aaron Sorkin and because I thought Annie Leibovitz was really bad. And Aaron Sorkin like doesn't phone it in at all. The guy is a teacher.
Who?
Aaron Sorkin,
Oh, I
Ooh.
believe it.
a true teacher, really loves it, makes assignments, like, he really understood like how to pass on his talent. Not pass on his talent, but like pass on
His knowledge.
his knowledge and
Something.
wisdom. Yeah.
Passing on something,
Yeah.
right? Something of value. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I haven't I wonder how many people like use that tool now because it seems I don't know if their stock is up or down. And I'm using this, I know they're not publicly traded, but I'm saying like I wonder if they're doing better or worse.
Right.
Um,
It was. I mean, I took the one with like the I think it was like Bob Iger one about negotiating and like I was like I could probably learn something from this, and it was like yeah, he was talking about his merger with 20th Century Fox. It looked like it was basically filmed in an afternoon in his office. He's like,
yeah.
guys, I got about an hour. Just ask me
Yeah,
a couple of
there's
questions.
a lot of they've got a lot of master classes that are like how to be a studio executive of a major Hollywood production
Right.
company. You're like,
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, you got to make sure people work well together. And then next chapter, and it was like, wait, what?
yeah. They had one on a negotiator that worked with the FBI that was really it was a fun one, but it was just like entertainment. It wasn't you weren't learning anything from it. You were just like, oh, this guy's cool. And he was not a famous person. He was just a um well, I guess he's famous in that he wrote a very successful book on the art of negotiating.
You know,
Um
Timmy's thinking that he just watched that one for fun and didn't get anything out of that. And one day we're going to read about Timmy ending a hostage crisis at like the bank that he's
Yeah,
at one day.
Ah,
And he's going to
right.
like just bring the whole thing and be like, oh my God, I learned all of this in master class.
Adam, every time I walk into a bank, I fantasize about that scenario.
amazing.
I could resolve that no problem. No. And you know what? They'd let them go free. That's how good I'd be.
That's right. Like, that
They'd
would
be
be
like,
part of
let's let
the
everybody, let this story should end happily for everyone.
good.
Everybody, we should, on the topic of endings, we should move on to the next pose. It's sort of a long one. This is a 40 plus minute pose. Please post your work. It's hashtag drawing knife 244 and add visual arts passage. Um, no, the negotiator one is actually I recommend it. Like it was fun, it was interesting. He famously negotiated a hostage crisis that I believe was with the Taliban, and he was the only person that was ever to negotiate a hostage crisis of an American citizen with the Taliban that did not require any sort of trade. It required nothing. He just persuaded them to release the hostage.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was a really beautiful story about like understanding other people and like learning how to communicate with them and like finding yourself like
Finding a connection.
finding a connection where you're like on the same plane with a person that feels like they're from a very different world. Um and so I'll try to look up his name, but it was a pretty phenomenal obviously made a ton of news stories, so it's a true story, but yeah. He just was like, I really think you guys shouldn't do this. No, he handled it differently and it works very well. Yeah.
All right, so maybe you're not going to get all the bank people freed, but you know,
No, I don't think I would do very well in a bank hostage situation. I worry that I would maybe show the worst parts of myself. That that perhaps that perhaps it might even be a shameful moment.
boy, if you thought my apology letter to Annie Leibovitz was sincere, you should see what I write to all of these families.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. Do you guys have on we were talking about signatures earlier. Do you guys have a favorite signature of an artist that you can think of?
Well, I was
I
always
could
just
I
blown
want
away by how clean Norman Rockwell's was. It's such a difficult font to replicate, and I always think about how it must have taken an hours for him to sign a painting.
really,
Yeah.
One of my favorites is Bernie Fuchs's.
really. I'm gonna see if I can pull these up while you guys are talking. Um Zilla Smith, they wrote an article for the we don't have a name for it. The Visual Arts Passage Dispatch.
Huh?
um, on Albert Dürer, and I loved that signature.
Good to see.
Yeah, that's a
Great
good signature.
Really good. I'm gonna have to read that. Zilla was in my class. They're great.
Like there's I don't know how they write Adam. I don't know how they write this stuff so fast and so good. I sent them a message today and was like, hey, wanting to publish the article for so our goal is to send out something fun every Friday that's like it's not an advertisement. I'm not selling you anything. It's just
Information.
interesting stuff. And Zilla is delivering some gold. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for images for tomorrow's post. And they were just like, I've sent you like 3 blog posts with like 3 different sets of images. And I'm like, if you gave me a whole month to write these articles, I'd have it half done. It's amazing. I feel like I'm working with Radiolab.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah. Yeah. I'm pulling up these signatures. I'm trying to. I'm doing my best. Ray, did you have one?
I would say. I mean, I was gonna go with Leindecker. But only because I really feel like I have a lame. My signature is so plain.
It's so
Is it like Andy
You know?
from Toy Story?
Yeah, it's basically that's what I modeled it off of, basically, right?
Mine's way more plain than that, Ray. I just write
Yeah.
J-E in red letters.
Yeah.
Whoa, Leindecker is trippy. Leindecker looks like a design from like the 1970s.
hmm
Yeah, yeah, it's got a Peter Max style of
I'm trying to grab it.
There's like a group of painters that had very similar signatures in the way they wrote it. Like um, well, somebody like the way Lipke designed his. It's like he painted it. It's
Right.
yeah,
Skip or Jeremy.
Malcolm.
Ah, okay.
I don't know Skip. Who's Skip?
Skip Lipke's Malcolm Lipke. That's what he was known as.
I
Yep.
I think he's messing with us.
pretended like he didn't exist anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
He was just an illustrator that worked during the 80s and 90s and not a fine
Yes.
artist like
Skip.
now.
Skip Lipke, man.
Yep. Good artist.
Yeah.
My dad's best friend from childhood when we were little, he would always tell us that our real dad was a professional tennis player named Skip.
Skip Trayvon.
No, he wasn't a Trayvon. He was just like, your real dad's name is Skip, and he played tennis. I always thought that was so funny. Sorry, I couldn't get anything better as
yeah,
far
it's
as
just beautiful.
yeah. John, you said Bernie Fuchs, right?
Yeah.
That one.
Nice.
Mm.
And then is that wow.
Just
That red
clean
fit.
and straight.
Yeah. It's nice to know that when he autographed his signature, it wasn't the same.
It is funny. Yeah, he autographed his signature.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that he didn't sign all his checks with that painted one.
Like, I mean, he's smart because for
Yeah.
illustration, you want a clear name if you're allowed to sign, so people know who did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so he kind of had a brand and then a signature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You could
Well,
tell, like, as he got older, the signature got larger and larger
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
art directors were like, "Hey, can you just sign it? Like, can you make sure you sign it pretty large so that they know it's a Norman
We
Rockwell?"
want to take
I
credit.
was like,
We got it.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
problem.
John, someone asked, or not someone, Eric asked, what museum in New York City was it that you saw the Scheels, the Scheel and the Klimt?
the new museum.
The New Museum. Is that owned by the New School?
No, it's Neue.
NEU.
Oh man, that was That question made me look so dumb. Oh man. Oh man.
Gosh, guys.
Man. That's like the Baby Ruth moment in Sandlot.
Who's she?
Yeah, who's
Oh,
she?
yeah.
Babe Ruth. Yeah.
The behemoth.
That's apparently what Marshall Arisman said when he was given the job to illustrate the review for Marilyn Manson's album. And he was like, I don't even know who she is.
Oh no. Oh no.
And he said, and after they finished laughing at me, they gave me the CD. And I listened to it and I looked at the pictures. I thought, oh, he's a circus geek. I get it.
That's funny.
Mm.
I do want to take a moment just to let everybody know if this is your first time tuning in, this is Drawing Hive and it's sponsored by Visual Arts Passage. If you don't know what Visual Arts Passage is, we specialize in online classes for illustrators, painters, fine artists, people who want to work in publishing, comic book arts, concept art, visual development. If you want to work with galleries, if you want to tell stories with pictures, we figure out how to help you make a career out of doing that. We are enrolling right now. Classes start April 19th, so it's coming up fast. That might seem like it's a little far off, but all of our classes are live. They're fully immersive, so it's not like this. This is very much more like a podcast or a little hangout community. Our classes are fully interactive. You're going to have conversations with your teacher. It's going to be like you're on the panel. You get to ask questions, you get to have conversations, you get to share your work, you get really in-depth feedback. Um, we have guest speakers. We have all of these like private forums where you can talk with other students. It honestly, I've seen pretty much every level of education for this field at the highest level. And I really confidently believe, like pound for pound, we're doing the best at it. So we are enrolling right now. If you do sign up this weekend, it is $200 off. One big reason, though, to sign up this weekend, there's one reason that you
Can't
should
wait.
sign up. What was that?
Can't wait.
Okay, there's a good reason to sign up today or tomorrow because today and tomorrow is the last day to do it. Is we've got I keep wanting to say Sir, starting with Sir Ian McKeag. It's Ian McKeag is teaching. He's going to be a guest speaker this weekend. Um, for any of you who don't know who Ian McKeag is, he is maybe one of the most profound
Prolific.
figures in the concept design world. His fingerprint has been on some of the most iconic IPs you can imagine, from Terminator,
Darth
uh,
Maul.
Darth Maul of the Star Wars world. Like he created these characters. He had meetings with George Lucas. He sat in a room with George Lucas. If you're Gen Z, George Lucas is the guy that made all the nerd stuff cool. Um, right? He created Star Wars. Um, and Ian McKeag was he was an integral part of that world. Like he had an influence on James Cameron when he was developing Terminator. Like like his fingerprint is on culture in a way in which I can't say anyone else I've ever met has had their fingerprint on. His fingerprint is strongly indented in the zeitgeist. And he's going to be talking with our students this weekend.
I'm
And I
gonna,
can tell you this.
I'm gonna interrupt you on that, Timmy,
Yeah.
because I spent an hour talking to him today. And he's a magnificent speaker, for one,
Yeah.
and a lovely individual. But he can't help himself to to explain and to talk about what the way he talks about what he does, and kind of comes at it from a very different way than almost anybody I've ever interviewed before. He
He's the coolest.
showed me what he's going to do, a lesson he's giving. He's going to draw in front of the students, and
Huh.
he had a really interesting lesson that he shared with me this afternoon, which he's an artist at heart for sure. I mean, it's like he was pointing out things on my wall behind me, and then he started pulling out stuff and saying, "Well, this is how I would do it." It was,
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
it was just, I had this like most wonderful hour with him on the on a Zoom call today. Just an amazing individual.
Yeah, he's definitely preserved the child spirit in himself in a way that's really, I think, admirable and pretty amazing. Where like that curiosity or like, yeah, just curiosity, like just like or wonder at things, like just encourages new ideas, right? He's the best. So Ian is one of our guest speakers. This is kind of an unusual semester. Ian's one of those guys, if you can book him, you book him whenever he says. And so the semester starts April 19th, but Ian is a guest speaker on Saturday this week. So if you want to attend it, I still don't know if we're going to record it. So you better be there live. So if you want to sign up, you're going to get all the mentorship, you get the whole experience. But if you want to tune in for the Ian McCaig thing, you better sign up tomorrow, by tomorrow. Um, no need for a code. It applies at checkout, so you don't need any sort of code. Isn't that exciting? Um, I don't have to come up with codes anymore.
Could you have
Um,
been more deadpan on that one?
yeah, I don't have to come up with using Zing Zop 200. No, it just auto applies it. And yeah, I'm very excited for the spring semester. We got a lot of talent. And also talk about talent. You're like surrounded by it as your students, which it's been pretty exciting seeing the outcomes with students lately. You know what? Our students, this is pretty cool. Our students are having so much success. I had to make a form for them to submit the success to me. Because I can't manage, them just being like, I won this award, I won that award, I'm doing this book or whatever. And so I was like, everybody, here's a form. Please complete it. It's not that I don't care, it's just it's a lot. So yeah.
Pretty awesome.
And you know what? Will be my defense of the form because now I feel bad I brought up the form.
Don't feel bad about the form. No, it's
No,
No, it's
really
not like
but
exciting.
I want to say this.
Good.
I made the
Good. Feel
form
bad.
because the alternative is if I don't make forms like that,
You miss out on stuff.
I miss out on stuff, or this is what would happen at a lot of schools. I hire someone to then manage all of that, and and then and then you get cutbacks on other things, and I can really say this: all of our money goes into the product. It's it's a it's a scary business model.
right.
It all goes into into the product, and so I really just like want to emphasize that like whenever I talk with students, I'm like, if you call the school, you're gonna have us on the phone. You have no idea how badly I would like for you to have to go through some type of hoops to talk to me, but 24/7, me and John are available, you know? And I'm joking. We like it. We enjoy it, but um we just try to we like I like a bootstrap approach to education because I don't feel like a lot of people are trying that. Um, everybody talks about scalability, you know,
Hmm.
like scalability was like a real hot keyword
Yeah.
for a really long time. John, how many times you probably hear me say the word scalability? We need
Yeah.
this to be scalable, you know? And it was the guys at trying to remember the tech company. I think it was Jack Dorsey that was like scalability doesn't mean anything. Like you just need to care about it and to distribute it. I do like Jack Dorsey. I find him interesting. But he talks about going to coffee shops with little print out postcards that you could sign up for Twitter with. You know, that's not scalable,
Right.
right?
Unless
Yeah.
you're really fast.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's what your response to my scalability thing, John. You're like, I'm so fast. Ray, you're in Photoshop now, but what were you in before?
I was in Blender.
Okay,
So
nice.
I like the reference, the one that Cassandra's looking at, but I wanted it to feel as if it were lit differently. So I did a really
Yeah, you're going from
very
underneath.
rudimentary. Yeah. So I just did a super rudimentary sculpt, and I'm doing a paint over of it with change the light, and then I'm doing a paint over it. On
Well,
top.
what's
So-
funny is I like when I've been watching you build it, in my head I've just been like, so they just looked at Yoda and said, make it like corgi fur, but Yoda shaped.
Yes.
Like,
I was
Yeah.
looking at it. I had just done, for
Yeah.
no particular reason, I drew Yoda the other day. And then I looked at Gizmo and was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yoda didn't shave today.
What is Yoda again? What is the creature?
Yoda from Star Wars.
Oh, it's no, it's like the race of alien that Yoda is.
But I don't know the name of it. I just
It's
know
one of the-
Yoda's name and Grogu's name.
Yeah,
Yeah, why you gotta ask questions like that, Timmy?
Anyway, sorry. I thought you were gonna answer way too fast, Ray.
I know.
As soon
I
as Ray
know.
started talking, I was like, here we go.
Also, I knew when Cassandra said he's Yoda, I knew Ray was gonna be like, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, you're totally right though. It is just like a male pattern baldness Yoda. It's just Yoda before Yoda went bald.
Well, before he went green too.
Yeah, like
Well, you don't know what's under that fur.
right. Like if the Henson factory worked on the same budget as like the Kaiju Godzilla factory, like
Yeah.
that's what it would have been. They would have like
Right.
taken Yoda and stapled fur to it. Did
Right.
you ever watch like Ultraman where suddenly you actually see Godzilla, like but with extra stuff glued to him,
yes,
come out to fight the robot?
Well,
yes.
And like you suddenly recognize everybody. They've just got like, oh look, they glued moth wings to him.
all right. Are you guys ready for some Yoda background?
Okay. Bring it.
Affiliations. Jedi Order. Locations. Yoda's hut. Height. No, I don't know that one. Gender, male. Weapons, lightsaber. Vehicles. Yoda's fighter. Species. Unknown. How have they not answered that?
No, that's
No, they've answered that.
Happening?
they must have, because I mean, if you bought a Star Wars figure in the 80s, everybody has a name, even if no one ever uses it.
No.
All the guys in the
I
camp-
think
you
it's
know what they call
unknown.
it? You know how they sidestep that, Adam?
Yeah.
Yoda's species is just called Yoda's species.
Yeah, or Yaddle species.
I think this
Oh, I
is a
did
good
not know
I
question.
feel like George had a name.
Can we ask Ian? Can we
Ian, yes, this
Can
is
we
an
ask
Ian
Ian on
question.
Saturday?
Huh?
I want you to bring this up.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will definitely
No,
bring that up.
you're. Yeah,
And then
I'm
another little
confirming that,
teaser.
Timmy, with you. Yep, George Lucas, creator of Star Wars, has stated he never intended to reveal the name or origin of Yoda's species, keeping it a mystery to maintain a sense of wonder and mystique, or just that he never.
Or he just got lazy. He's like,
Bothered to-
I'm
yeah.
tired of naming species.
It's really funny the extent to which they've like literally like torn apart like every structure in the Star Wars and like made these diagrams of every single part of them. And they've left no mystery at all as to how anything operates. And
Well,
he's
we've
like,
got a mystery right
Right.
here with
Like,
Yoda.
this is our mystery box.
Like,
It's
yeah, I'm sure we
Yoda.
know exactly like what block Bib Fortuna grew up on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what's fun? One more exciting thing in addition to Ian McKeag is we've got the return. It's a quick return, a very soon return of Kylon Q coming back next week, next Thursday.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
And the reason I bring this up is because we are leaning in to we're going to do our best. These images are going to be up on the website and they're going to get taken down so fast by me. I think we're going to do Star Wars.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. We're posting those. We're going to post that photo reference and then we're going to take it down as soon as the episode's over. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want that type of heat, you know?
We don't. Um, even though I'm joking about this, we are an educational organization. There's an educational event. We are entitled to it. It has the copyright, but, and I just want to say that for the record, we are not breaking any rules. But you know what? Those Disney people can be kind of nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Legend.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Big props to Adam for the Ultraman reference.
What was that? Did that go over my head?
Yeah, yeah. It's all right.
Sorry.
I would show up for an Ultraman night.
Oh yeah. All right.
Can I show how
But it-
cool I am? Can I show how cool I am? I'm gonna ask a question. What
Isn't
what
it
is
isn't
what
this
is Ultraman?
isn't what this isn't
I-
isn't what what this show is all about is you
I can
showing
drum
how
us
cool
up
you
some
are.
Yeah.
Ultraman reference.
Sorry, what is Ultraman? I'm being
Oh,
sincere. I was
oh,
joking about me
it-
being cool because of it, but I'm being
I
sincere.
mean, possibly the worst superhero ever.
Okay.
or the most awesome
Or the most
superhero
awesome.
ever.
But it's just that he turns into a robot, or a big guy who can fight monsters, but doesn't really have any kung fu skills, or like he's gonna fight them, but he doesn't really have fighting skills, and he also has a battery that runs out in like 5 minutes as soon as he starts to fight.
That's pretty funny.
Adam,
But-
yeah, but it's so
Right.
it's
So
the
he's
people
gotta
that
fight
make
in a hurry.
the
He's
same
got no
studio that
time
made
for strategy.
the same studio that made Godzilla to keep
Yes.
themselves employed. They started a TV series in the 60s.
Yes.
And they named it Ultraman and basically was like, okay, how do we do this on a budget,
Yeah.
even less money, and how do we stretch it across multiple episodes? And then Ultraman was born, but it's still being played now,
And it's great.
and it's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Because like every time he gets in a fight, we're just like, I don't know, how long's his battery gonna? And it's like Ultraman's
Yeah.
battery. It's already blinking. Which is a harbinger of things to come. Like, because you know, think about the early smartphones. Who would have guessed that they would really have caught on and taken over the world if the moment you made them do smart things, you know, the battery died? Our Ultraman as a superhero is like the patron saint of the early adopter of technology.
Timmy, I don't want you watching Ultraman. Okay,
Uh,
I just don't want. Just stay away
you
from.
worried about
Okay.
it?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just don't want you near him.
You won't
I don't want you
appreciate the
near him.
genius that it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Fun little
Cassandra,
fact.
Adam, and John and I don't want you near him.
Fun little Yoda fact. The guy who does Yoda's voice for all the
Frank
animation-
Oz.
Frank
What's that?
Oz, man. Yeah.
Frank Oz.
Frank
No,
Oz.
no. For like the anime out.
Oh, for like new Yoda.
Yeah, new Yoda.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
For the animations and all that stuff. Kansas City guy.
Oh.
I've been in his basement. He has a sound recording studio. We've been there to record narrations for stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
What?
Been
Yeah.
in his recording studio? You
That's good, Adam.
Why don't you ask him about Yoda's species?
Yeah,
yeah.
Like,
exactly.
you
got
know
an
a
in.
guy.
Right.
I didn't know until we left. I was with Jeremy Collins and he was like, you know, that guy does all the Yoda stuff. And I was like, no, I didn't know that. We were like into some suburb. Like we were like at some random house in the suburbs. And I was like,
Yeah, that's what's cool about getting to do voice work is, you know, once it takes off, you can put a studio in your house.
Now wait,
Yeah.
this isn't like the Chewbacca story, though, right?
no. It didn't end with him being like, on. No, it was not that bad. Yeah. But no, Kylo and Q, if you haven't been here the week that Kai joined us, an amazing painter, really awesome to talk with. And he's got a ton of fun stories and is shockingly young too.
Oh,
So he's 27.
well, he's so skilled, and then he's just at the right place at the right time that these wild, amazing opportunities show up. And he was like, yeah, and it just, so I just said, okay, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Really fun, very humble for how successful he is at such a young age
Yeah.
as well, which is shocking.
I got a question for Ray. Um, are you familiar with the comic artist Richard Corbin?
Oh, of course, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Heavy metal.
here's a fact that I still can't really believe this, but and I kind of forgot about it, and it came back to me the other day because I saw it. Richard Corbin has lived in, he's no longer alive, but he lived in Kansas City the whole time I lived in Kansas City.
What?
Yeah, and never met the guy, never met anybody that knew him. He was a complete hermit. And the other day, I was walking. I've been going on these like really long walks, and I'm walking, and I remember somebody showing me a picture of his house and explaining it to me years ago. And I walked by his house, where the house he lived in when he was alive. And it still to this day amazes me that somebody with that much recognition, I don't think Arnie Finner ever spent any time with him, and he lived in the same town.
Wow. Wow.
Just
That
kind of give a brief rundown who he is, Ray.
it was I would say he was like he was an illustrator. He was known a lot for his like alternative type of comics. He did a lot more. It was really well known in Europe. I think he first came. Now, I could be wrong about this, but he first like I think his big break was the his illustrated tales in the magazine Heavy Metal. And it was a character. I think his name was Dale or oh my god, I'm blanking on this. So, but very like adult rated Den. That's what I'm thinking. Den. Dale, right? Oh god. Yeah.
Julian and Gary were like, Dan!
Den. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I have to do this. Yeah. Like but like I saw stuff in Creepy, Eerie, did a bunch of stuff for Warren Publishing. So yeah. I love this stuff for like I think he illustrated some stuff for Robert E. Howard, H.P. Lovecraft, and a bunch of awesome stuff.
How I figured that out, how I learned about him and even knew who he was from Thomas Blackshear. And
Oh, nice.
Tom was living in Kansas City, and he tried to meet him, and he was never. I don't think he ever accomplished it.
Wow. Apparently Steve Ditko was like that too. Another famous comic book illustrator. I thought you were gonna say Corbin sculpted for references, like how he would do his stuff was he would do sculpts like maquettes, like I was doing, and I was like, yeah. So
No,
anyway, but
I don't know.
That's not the case. Yeah. No, I saw a post after he had passed away, the people talking about his working methods, and I was like, oh, because he had such volumetric, like his use of value and like all of his stuff, had a lot of volume to it. Like it felt like just really all of his creatures, they all felt his characters. It didn't matter what the lighting was; it felt like it was very sculptural, and he was a heck of a painter. As well as like his inks were incredible too. So
I thought that
yeah,
was a fun kind of
yeah,
fact.
yeah, man. Cassandra did Gary and Julian stop yelling? Are they still yelling?
Yeah, yeah, but there was immediate all caps and exclamation.
Yeah, sorry, sorry, gang. Kind of failed that one. I did. He threw Corbin at me, man. I was caught off guard. I didn't expect John to bring up Richard Corbin.
John was geek baiting.
Mhm.
I know he was
Geek
totally.
bait. Did you see Quan he did it. He put Mr. X
Yeah, I loved
Oh, yeah.
that.
or
Mr.
Dr.
X, yeah,
X.
a little geek bait. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Timmy, I actually have a recommendation this week.
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay, so there's this podcast called the Great Women Artists podcast, and she interviewed Jenny Saville, and
Nice.
it's just awesome to hear her talk. Any chance you can hear her talk about her art is wonderful.
Explain Jenny Serville.
Jenny Saville is a rock star artist. She kind of um, took over painting the female form from a female perspective when nobody was doing it. And she really just wanted to show what real women looked like and was just fascinated with how she saw light and form and texture and painted huge. They're super dynamic and dramatic, and some of her stuff gets pretty wild. Um, but oh, I can never get enough looking at her work. She's so good.
Great
She's a
painter.
British painter.
Yeah, and they get very like visceral.
Yeah, like she talked about kind of doing a couple violent paintings because or painting a violent scene because she was curious about just like what would that look like, and then she took the inspiration of like what she saw and she was like that was too heavy, but then kind of what she learned from that, then she brought that into painting just regular forms, and a lot of the times it's herself that she's painting because she was like it's cheap, I'm available, I'm here. So
Yeah.
she talks about why she painted herself so much.
Are they how long are the episodes?
Oh, it's like a 45-minute episode or 50-minute.
Perfect episode. Perfect
Yeah,
episode. Yeah.
it's a great length, but honestly, I wish it was 2 hours. I could just
Yeah.
keep listening to her talk.
Is it more relaxed or is it pretty structured? Like,
It's pretty relaxed.
yeah.
They're just having a conversation and it sends her down explaining just how she works and why she does what she does. Like there's a sense of academia to it just because the interviewer is
Yeah.
um well, she's British, so everything
Okay.
sounds so much more
Oh yeah, they get away with murder.
yeah, she sounds like
Good.
way smarter and educated
Yeah.
just with using the accent that she had
Yeah.
in it. But
Yeah.
it's a wonderful interview. I'm gonna go back and probably listen to it again because I really liked it.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Um, I just shared a link to the pod.
Thanks.
He's the great women artist. I just shared it in the chat.
Yeah.
Everybody save it. Save it.
Great recommendation, Cassandra.
That is a good recommendation.
Yeah, I was really excited. I like almost wanted to just send it to y'all because I'm like, y'all, Jenny Seville, she's talking.
Yeah, John, John, John was like on Monday. I was like, "You got any ideas for drawing hive?" And I was like, "I don't know." As far as I'm talking about like recommendations, and I was like, "I don't know." The most watched thing in the world right now is this show called Adolescence, but it doesn't really feel good. Like, like doesn't really capture the ambiance that we're
Uh,
going
I
for.
started watching The Studio and I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, the studio's phenomenal. That'll be a good.
Okay.
That'll be a good.
Okay.
The
oh,
studio's the studio's a high rec. I love it.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I finished Severance and I was just like, my brain hurts trying to figure that out. And I was like, let's
yeah,
move into The Studio. Like that seems
yeah,
like and it feels dot on, honestly.
yeah. Everybody, start posting your work. It's hashtag drawing knife 244, hashtag drawing knife and visual arts passage. We're gonna check it out. We're going there in 4 minutes. So start posting your work now. Don't wait. Um, yeah, no, I like the studio. I like the studio a lot. It's very fun. It's so well shot.
Oh
Um,
my gosh. And I like It's hilarious and amazing, the guest appearances that are on.
Yeah, it you know what it reminds me of
Hmm.
is because this is gonna sound so broy and like not likable, right? But in the early aughts, there was a show called Entourage.
Oh,
Right.
E-Man, my
Eh,
husband,
Yeah.
he made the same correlation. Yeah.
Okay, and it was the first time on TV where they showed A-list actors as cameos in a way in which they played themselves, and they showed this like behind the veil of how the studio worked. Now they coupled that with some of the most broy dumb plot lines ever,
Yeah.
and it was so bad, but there were aspects of it that were phenomenal, but I don't know that they outweighed the broishness of it. But there's an aspect of the studio that has I think elevated that to like a sophisticated level that I really, we're only 2 episodes in.
3 episodes, I think.
Well, I'm only 2 episodes
Oh,
in,
okay.
and I feel like I can confidently say like it's so smart.
Yeah, and he makes himself like the butt of a lot of the jokes, and I
Yeah,
think that's what's so smart about it.
the only thing that is weird about it is that it's the humanization of a studio exec, and I think
Never seen it before.
well, the thing that I don't understand is that like so much of like culture and media right now, it's like being ruined by those people, and he's kind of showing the like harsh dilemmas that they face and like why they make the decisions that they make, and it's
Mhm.
kind of, I'm curious as to if they're gonna like it very much like humanizes like the decisions they're making, right?
Mhm.
And like the
Mhm.
garbage that they're producing, and like I don't know, we did a Barbenheimer night, but like I remember thinking like this is stupid. Why is Barbie the most watched movie in America right now? Right? But like we're talking about like a toy that we're talking about like when movies have the like when the word IP comes before movie, I'm immediately kind of like less interested, right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
You're
But
just
the
like
first episode kind of goes into that, and it is so funny. Just
it's
like,
really great. It's
uh,
really, really
I
great.
don't want to ruin it, so I'm not going to say
No.
anything more. But I thought that it's
The second episode, I think the second episode is like an iconic episode of television.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
so uncomfortable, and I
Yeah,
loved
but
it.
like it's so just I'll give the premise for it because I think a lot of people might not realize how complicated this is. The premise of the second episode is that he is a studio exec on set for a film that has it is the last day of filming, and they are losing the people after that. They're losing the talent, everything. And they're shooting a oneer, and it's going to be a sunset. A oneer being like one shot. It's a really long shot, and it's during a sunset where the sun kind of fades throughout the shot. He is bumbling and messing up like he is somehow personally messing up everything a lot throughout the evening. But what's impressive about the episode is not a oneer, but throughout the episode, the sun is going down in a way that is so natural that I bet it took them 10 days to shoot, and
Yeah, yeah.
they were shooting 10 minutes a day
Like
probably.
they're discussing the dilemma that you're witnessing that they had to do.
Yeah, they're like, I bet that the set that they were on to shoot that was as stressful as the set that they're showing in the
Yeah,
show. It's so
yeah,
funny. So
it's
it's
great.
it's very, yeah, it's very meta, very, fun. Um, I'm gonna
So
start to
my
head.
Rex, I had
it-
Rex for you. I thought ahead to me.
Those are good Recs. Any other Recs, people? Anybody books? Do we read still? Is
Oh,
anybody
Adam.
reading?
Oh my gosh, sure.
It
Adam.
suddenly dawned on me that he's got furry Yoda money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
I
right.
forgot.
Oh yeah, he
Got to
does have
put him
fun.
in a suit, Adam. Dang it, man.
I'm gonna walk around the room. This is
Oh
great.
my gosh, that's amazing. How many did
That's
you
a
get done, Adam? How many?
wow.
I got
Studio
that
exec.
that that was him and Kira.
Oh my
Beautiful.
gosh, you did.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, I was running out of time, so I put him in a suit. But
I was running out of time,
Done.
so I put him in a suit.
Oh, that's cool texture you got going on there.
That's cool, John.
God, Cassandra, I love it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Look at
that's
all the
great. That's
fur.
killer.
great. Yeah.
I knew that was going to be a good piece. Like
Mm.
That's
when
a
you
great piece.
in the block, and I was like, "Yep, all right."
Nailed it.
Oh,
my
that's
Regret,
God.
regret
amazing.
it.
I love it.
Way to go, Ray. Ray, thank you for not choosing the same photo I chose. You've
Right,
done that
yeah.
every time in the last 5 or 6 times you've been in here.
All I got to do is show up last minute, you know.
And yeah, I'm gonna make John look bad tonight. That's
I
what I'm
gotta say
doing.
this.
Yeah,
I think
right.
I think Gizmo wiped the floor tonight.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
come on, I believe it. How could you not want to draw this guy?
That was pretty easy.
Dang it. Sorry. Sorry, everyone.
I just want to say, your job is hard doing that, and I
It's
understand.
wildly hard. It's like, hey guys, think of the
It's
most
stressful. Like I go into a cold sweat, being like, okay,
use
am I
your
gonna?
personal device. You know the thing that all the personal stuff that you have on it, use that to then share that screen.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna
mean,
see a lot of
Cass-
animals, obviously, on mine.
Look,
Cassandra
I
did it
got
so
look at this, look at this, look at this.
effortlessly.
Time limit
No.
reached, everybody. 1 second. This way everybody knows that I've gone past my allotted time.
Timmy time. Timmy time is up.
What I
Sorry,
like about
everybody.
it, Cassandra, when you do it, is I know that all the animals are gonna have clothes on them.
Yeah.
I don't have any concerns.
Right.
No nudity issues.
Oh my gosh, I'm holding my breath. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Look
Oh
at
yeah.
Ooh.
Nice.
Let's go.
Beautiful.
Um,
Hey,
Oh, nice, Peter.
Peter. And you went full color, man. Oh, that's
Ooh, that's
cool. Great
Very
drawing.
cool.
That's cool.
Good line work.
Woo.
Love it.
Yeah.
Really great.
Julian, nice.
Beautiful,
Nice,
Julian.
Julian.
I love those
Oh
eyes.
my gosh. You made him even cuter.
Yeah, you did.
Right.
Drawing
Oh,
cute is hard.
Nice.
Yeah.
They went quiet.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Way to
That's
get all the
great.
fur.
It really
So
is.
is that.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
Gizmo's gonna take
Nice.
over.
yes.
Yeah.
Gizmo, it's
Oh, that was beautiful.
we're
Yeah.
all just living in Gizmo's world.
Oh, nice, Virgie.
Mm,
Nice,
It's
Virgie.
That's
that's
good.
cool.
Cool.
That's great.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
cool, Paul. Fantastic,
Oh,
Okay.
Gary. Dang, you got the ankle good. Oh, Jeff. Perfect.
Nice.
Oh, Marcy.
Oh,
Yes.
That's great.
Well done, Peter.
Wonderful. Got a lot done, Peter.
yeah, right?
Ooh,
Oh,
love. I'm
look at
loving that
the
you're doing
sun.
this in sketchbook.
Yeah.
Love the last one too. Nice.
Julian, killing it.
So good.
Fun.
I just want to go.
Awesome. Good stuff.
So cool.
Nice.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Nice.
Got their hair do really well.
Nice.
Nice
New person, new follow. Nice.
Nice.
job.
Welcome.
Oh,
Virgie.
Virgie.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Multimedia.
Ooh, that's
Ooh,
good.
nice.
This is good.
Really nice, Terry.
Oh, wow.
Nice, Terry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Nice
Really
drawing.
delicately done.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Oh
Oh,
my
Hey,
that's gotta be
Robert.
Robert.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey,
Robert.
well done, Robert.
Whoa,
Jeez.
Robert.
Oh yeah, I
Okay,
love it.
we are so behind. It's because of enrollment. We're gonna have a Jeff feature. We're not gonna steamroll past it. Jeff has a book for us.
Yay. And they got the skeely in that one.
Awesome.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
Really
Nice.
nice.
wow.
Oh, that's cool, Julian. You
that's
got
a
a lot
nice
done,
one.
man.
Wow.
Great job.
Nicole.
Definitely Falcor.
Adorable.
Look at that.
Adorable.
Cute.
It's so weird. The bigger you make the eyes, the cuter it gets.
It
There's
really
got to be a
does.
threshold for that, though,
Right.
right? Where you're like, whoa.
Jeff, you got so much done, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Really good. Oh, I
Oh,
just
wow.
don't you just want to rub its belly?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Don't
That
feed
would
those
calm
things
me
at past
down.
a certain time.
Yeah.
That
That's
would
so
calm
great.
me down.
Oh, really great job.
No.
So good.
Adorable. So adorable. Oh,
Oh man.
wow.
Don't
That's
call me
awesome.
Grogu.
Dang,
It's
AJ.
Gizmo.
Really nice.
Oh, nice. Nice. Lucky
Nice.
Bean.
Ooh,
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh, that's
Oh.
beautiful.
Huh.
Awesome stuff.
beautiful.
So calm.
Lovely
So calm.
Falcor.
It's like the
Yeah.
opposite
Wow,
of
that's
my dog.
beautiful.
This is the
Mhm.
opposite of my dog. Yeah.
Ooh,
Nice, Vincent.
Oh, great.
that's great.
It's awesome.
Oh my gosh, Felicity.
Oh, Felicity, that's looking amazing.
Wow, Felicity.
That is impressive.
So good.
I
She just had
love
to,
that.
she just had to do the same reference I was working
Mm.
on.
It is
Just
wild. I
great.
want to see
Great stuff, Felicity.
I want to see a Felicity time lapse. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's so great. So fun.
Awesome.
I
Mhm.
feel like we are seeing a Felicity time lapse.
Yeah, we have, but
Yeah.
in like
Yeah.
real time, it's been like years.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Eric.
Nice,
amazing,
Eric.
Eric.
Wow.
Jeez.
Damn, Eric.
Oh,
Wow.
that's great, Valerie.
Yeah.
Love a little.
Adorable. Is that on a
That's
post-it
great.
note? Yes,
That
that's so
is.
good.
Nice.
It's killer.
Yes.
Yes.
Good
Love
stuff.
that.
Yes. Ooh,
Sally.
Oh,
Nice.
Sally,
Nice,
that's
Hey.
Sally.
cool. Great job.
I love that.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah,
Wow.
love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go.
Nice. Welcome, new people. Love it.
So fun. Oh my gosh, yes.
Killer. Amazing stuff.
Careful. Great drawing.
Go.
Ooh, that's
Whoa.
awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
Got a lot done.
Yeah.
Great job,
Amazing
Bella.
stuff. Way
Nice
to go,
one, Bella.
Bella.
Ugh,
Nice,
yes.
Andy.
Nice,
Nice.
Andy.
Great tilt with those ears.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Great job.
Nice.
Really nice.
Stripe.
There you
Adorable.
go.
I love the expression you got there.
Yeah. Danny.
Great job, Danny.
Nice one, Danny.
They've got a compound running. That's nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Art house.
That's a little
Mhm.
atelier.
Yeah.
Nice, Nicole.
Great job, Nicole.
Soon
Nice
to be a
stuff.
Oh, spork doodly. I love it.
Nice.
Spork doodle.
Look at those eyes. They just glisten.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's
Devin.
Nice,
Devin.
Devin.
Beautiful.
Any episode that
Yes.
gets any episode that gets a Devin feature is a special episode.
I know.
Awesome.
Nice. Good stuff.
Great job.
Yeah.
Is that coffee or is it ink in a cup?
You know, I
Yeah,
want to
don't
have a week where I
confuse 'em.
try to paint with coffee like Rainier.
Oh yeah, you
Mm.
gotta do it. The Rainier challenge.
Yeah. That's fantastic. You've gotten
That
so
was
much
really
work done.
nice. Yeah.
Amazing. Good stuff.
Great job. Really nice.
Love
So
it.
cute. Just
Oh,
looks ready to
wow.
wave.
The best.
Great job.
Gizmo.
Woo.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
that's
Wow.
just lovely.
Yeah.
I like this. They went with a different route, but you know what? Gotta respect it.
It's
Yeah,
cool.
got it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
Oh,
Gotta respect it.
adorable. Great
Oh,
job, Bella. That's a
Bella.
really good
Yeah.
drawing.
Nice
That
stuff.
it really is.
Oh, Rebecca.
Ooh,
Oh,
whoa.
Fantastic.
that's lovely.
I feel like we've got like competing dynasties of children.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have we created?
Yeah. Gonna have to root for the Felicity tribe.
They're gonna need family counseling.
Yeah, this is
Great
great.
drawing. Ooh, fun use of color. That's great.
That's awesome.
There.
Really nice.
You know what, Dark Crystal's coming in
Mhm.
at the tail end of it.
That's so fun.
That's awesome. And that's our last one.
Right.
What a
Awesome.
fun night.
Cool.
Had a great time, everybody.
That was super
Just
fun.
remember,
A lot of fun. Cassandra, Ray, Adam, thank you so much, man.
Thank
Yeah,
y'all.
you
That was a great time.
just remember we're
everyone.
still enrolling. Classes start April 19th, but if you want to attend the Ian McKeag lecture, it is this weekend. Everybody have a great night. That was
Have a
fun.
great night.
Night.
Everybody,
Take care, everyone.
thank you.